was the summer of 2014, and for my son's bar mitzvah present, just like many Jewish parents, we wanted him to bond with the Holy Land. Oh, it worked perhaps too well. My husband had stayed back at the hotel, and our friends, my son and I, had just stopped in a pharmacy.
Run to the bomb shelter, sweetie. Please hurry. I didn't hear the sirens at first, but the Israelis did. They're used to hearing these things. We ran to the back of the storeroom. It was a 12-foot by 24-foot windowless bomb shelter. My heart's pounding. Boom! Boom! I hear it and feel the percussion of the exploding bombs. I'm trying not to get sick. I look at my 13-year-old son and I think I'll never forgive myself if something happens to him.
That's an excerpt from a speech I gave to the Orange County Jewish Bar Association. It was the first, but not the last time we had to run to a bomb shelter. Our adventure and my transformation is also the subject of my book, Blasted from Complacency, A Journey from Terror to Transformation in Israel. There is no chapter in a parenting book on what to do when a war starts and you're on a family vacation. Think touring extraordinary and sacred sites mixed with cowering in bomb shelters. I'm still trying to get over the Jewish guilt of taking my son to war for his bar mitzvah present. The impact of being human targets helped me understand the plight of Israelis living like this, and it also made me want to work on peace. How Israel is often described on the news is not what I'd seen with my own eyes. And I felt Palestinian parents also preferred their children playing safely in their backyards. The missiles exploded just near enough to blow apart my world as I knew it, forever changing me. And you'd never recognize my life today with what it was like then. I believe I found my life's purpose. Hello, I'm Penny ST, and I'm the host of Peace with Penny. In today's episode of Peace with Penny, we'll be speaking with an organization called Rescuers Without Borders. In short, they save lives. They're often first on the scene of all types of medical emergencies, including the unfortunate terrorist attacks that occur consistently throughout Israel. They're also a peace organization, yet they often have to keep their efforts quiet from the communities they both help and train. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict gets complicated, even when trying to save lives. They serve and train both Israeli and Palestinian volunteers to provide the life-saving techniques, arriving first on the scene, awaiting transportation to hospitals that can be more than an hour away. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Natalie Sopinsky, a colorful, very busy person who says she is a Delaware native who was raised in an all-American conservative Jewish family. Today, she is a pistol-wearing, hitchhiking settler living in the Hebron Hills of Israel. A lawyer, lifeguard, and Zumba instructor, the mother of 5 children, and wife to Philadelphia-born and raised Jordan. Natalie represents the 150 communities in Judea and Samaria as Director of Development for Rescuers Without Borders, otherwise known in French as Sauveteurs Sans Frontières, or Hatzalah Yehuda and Shomron, the main U.S. charity for emergency medical needs in the Jewish heartland. Natalie also hosts the weekly radio program Returning Home on Israel News Talk Radio. We have a lot to talk about, so let's begin. Natalie, why does your organization have 3 names for Rescuers Without Borders? A French version, Sauveteurs Sans Frontières, and Hatzalah Yehuda and Shomron, and hopefully I haven't butchered those names too much.
First of all, thank you for having me, Penny. It's wonderful to be here, and you do a very, very special service by talking about these issues, which are sometimes very, very uncomfortable to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, why do we have 3 names? That's an easy question to start with. The English, Rescuers Without Borders, in translation, is the French, like you said, Sauveteurs Sans Frontières, that's French, and we do have a French branch, a very strong French branch. The Hebrew, Hatzalah means rescuers, and Yehuda and Shomron is the area in which we actually are the most effective. Okay, that's where we really are based. We actually have another name, Hatzalah Lelo Gvulot, which actually means rescuers without borders. And that was changed because Yehuda and Shomron, translated as Judea and Samaria, turned some people off. Some people don't like that. They hear it. News agencies, when they're interviewing us on the scene in different countries, will turn the cameras off when they found out what that stood for, where that was, and things become political and needlessly. Really, we're all trying to do good here, and it was very disappointing. I was not part of the organization when they made that change. I don't think I would have agreed with changing the name, but that's what the management decided. So yes, we have been changed to Rescuers Without Borders, Hatzalah Lelo Gvulot.
And that's because basically you are in the West Bank and religious settlers, I would say. Can you explain that a little bit more for our audience who isn't aware?
Okay, so the West Bank is a funny term also because there is no bank and there's no bank. I wish I lived on the bank of a river. That would be amazing, but there's no water here. The West Bank of Jordan is what the Arabs and the Palestinians and the anti-Jewish called that area way back. We call it Judea and Samaria. That's the Old Testament name, Yehuda and Shomron, and that's where the conflicts are. That's where Arabs and Jews, we all live together here. And that's where most of the terror happens and these attacks happen. And the organization was actually formed back in 2001, when these attacks were happening so often, and the medical emergencies, the National Medical Emergency Service would just take so long to get here. People were just bleeding out. And the security personnel and the security people saw this, and they were like, look, we've got to train, we've got to learn first aid, we've got to learn how to save lives. You can't just shoot back and let these poor people die. So they started Rescuers Without Borders, and it's grown, and it's really served us well. We are, me, someone from Delaware, like you said, I live out here, and I'm not some tough settler. I didn't even really know where I was moving to when we came here. It was kind of by accident. I had no political leanings at all. And people move here today because of the quality of life. They're not necessarily moving here because they're a settler. They don't need to make an ideological statement, a political statement. It's nice out here. It's suburbs. You can own a home and a garden. There's no traffic. The air is really clean. Mountain air is fresh. It's crisp. No pollution, good schools, nice people, family lives, really strong family life. That's why people live here.
Yeah. But unfortunately, you also have many, what are you, a mile from Gaza? So you have all these terrorist attacks, etc.
Well, no, I'm actually an hour and a half from Gaza, far, but it's not the Gaza, which is the problem. It's the different little Arab villages all throughout here, right next to us, right in my backyard. I actually am going to a wedding now, and in between I have to drive, because in between us is a bunch of Arabs, squatters, we call them. So we have to drive, and if I would walk, but then you need a whole security patrol. It's not even far from me. It's not even a kilometer. You hear their donkeys and their dogs. They're right behind us.
Why would you call them squatters?
Because it's not Arab land. This is the area of Jewish settlement, and this is happening everywhere. Yeah, the A, B, and C, which is a little complicated, but they're building on where they shouldn't be building. They have the area A. A is Arab land for them, for the Palestinian Authority, and they're building all over. They're building on Jewish land, and it's just happening so much, and so many structures are going up that the government has not really been very strong with enforcing demolition.
How would you describe Rescuers Without Borders?
Emergency rescue medics. That's emergency rescue medics. Pardon me.
10 times that. Say that 10 times quickly.
Yeah, that's what we are. That's what we are. We're emergency. You call like 911 in America. Here you call 1208 or you call 101, and we're the ones on the system who get there first. We get there first.
Right.
Waiting for an ambulance with you. So we stabilize the patient. Sometimes we bring an ambulance and we can get them out of there fast. but we're the ones who are out here. It's not like we're in a city. We're in villages. We're far from the cities.
Before we go much further, I'd like to show a clip about Rescuers Without Borders, which is the same organization as SSF, to give our audience more of an understanding of your organization.
SSF Rescuers Without Borders, a name recognized throughout the world. Thousands of rescue workers and volunteers have a mission: to provide assistance and relief wherever necessary. Under the shared belief, one who saves a life saves an entire world. These men and women are rescuers without borders because first aid and loving one's neighbors knows no boundaries, religion, or nationality. It all began in Israel, where more than 1,000 rescuers throughout the country are equipped with medical kits. The rescuers are alerted to emergencies through an enhanced communication center in real time. On average, it takes 2 minutes and 20 seconds to arrive on the scene of an attack or accident. This is the world record. This expertise in emergency relief has naturally led Rescuers Without Borders volunteers to help in conflict zones and natural disasters throughout the world.
In the south of the island.
The first day we were in Gaul, we treated about 500 people, and then we went to a nearby village which no aid organisation.
Since 2013, SSF has organized many humanitarian relief missions in Iraqi Kurdistan, providing refugees medical and psychological assistance together with food, supplies, and equipment. SSF trained medical first responders on site and permanently took over the pediatric service at Enkawa Camp 2 near Erbil. In Jordan, SSF regularly intervenes in the Iraqi Christian refugee camps and the Syrian refugee camps. Who can remain apathetic to the fate of Yusuf, who was severely burnt, to the fate of all those children, to their parents? These Syrian refugees are left without enough to eat, as they are forbidden to work in Jordan. Today, there are 1,000 causes to support around the world. Us? We choose to defend humanity. We choose to defend life. We choose to help support those who believe one who saves a life saves an entire world.
So can you describe a little bit more what it's like to live there? I mean, I don't, and for instance, for people in the US, many of us live in cities and so on. So this is you've described it as the Wild West. Can you?
Yeah. I'm sure there are some places in America that are like this. It's underdeveloped here.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, there's no you won't see any street lights, or there's no police. There's no gas station in my area. So the southern Hebron Hills, it's mountains and hills, and you see goats and shepherds and a little village here, a little village there, then maybe a Jewish settlement with a fence and a road sign, and then you'll see some Arabs, clusters of tents and clusters of homes, and you have to drive fast. No sidewalks. It's not developed. It's rough. Think of the covered wagons that used to go across the West, and you set up a little settlement. It's kind of like that.
And
So when
you
something happens,
sorry,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, well, when something happens, you're kind of on your own.
Right.
So
You
today
don't even
everyone has
have hospitals, right?
There's no hospital here. No. There's no city. There's no city. The closest city to us is Arad and Kiryat Arba. Kiryat Arba isn't considered a city. It's next to Hebron. Yeah, no hospitals there. No Jewish hospitals. Our closest hospital to me is Beersheba, which is an hour.
Oh, I thought the closest hospital was a half hour. Oh my. What is the mission for Rescuers Without Borders?
Just save lives, rescue people and help them and save their lives. And it's really, really simple. And I do get it, because I've had to call for help myself. You go into labor on a Friday night, 2 a.m. You call and you hope an ambulance is going to come. It's not a we don't live in a world here where there is a sure thing. Everything here involves God. We thank God, when we get in the car and drive, we say a prayer. Please take me there safely and take me home safely. Everybody has this in their car. I have it in my car. People read it on their phone. Nothing is taken for granted here. There is so much death and there is so much violence. And, you see in your children, they're very matter of fact about it. It's nothing you hide. It's not something that you
can't.
You don't even say it. You don't even say it in quiet voices. It's a fact of life here. And lots of praying and lots of invoking prayers, and you go on and you go on, and we raise our children to be strong and to go on. And every community in the world has challenges. This is ours. This is ours.
What is this that we're seeing here of the 2-person CR team?
This is a training session. We offer these several times a year for our medics. Very, very important to practice. We get lots of real life practice in the field. We have more practice in emergency situations, I think, than any medic in the world. But still, when they're young, you see this is a young one, a young boy here doing CPR with a teacher using the defibrillator. And AMBO is what that balloon is called. This is training. Training's important, and this happens very frequently. Thank goodness. Our teams and our medics and our paramedics know the importance of training. You don't want to be, taking the course and then go out on the road and then have to save someone's life. You only did it once.
Right. So you say this is a young boy. How young do you train?
He looks like a teenager to me. He looks like probably 16, 17. There are teenagers who become medics. And I'll tell you one thing. This is amazing about living in Israel. And I don't think it's just where I live. I think it's all over Israel. The stress and the importance of giving, of chesed, and of volunteering is instilled in a very young age. It's something that our teenagers do with pride. They become medics and young youth medics, teen medics, and they have their membership card and they wear their shirt and they're volunteering. And I love that. I love that that's how my children are being raised, to see this and to have this as part of something to be proud of, to strive for, to give, to help. I love that. I love that. So you'll see teen medics, learning, and maybe they do a few hours here and there.
Okay, and then here,
This is
new medics in Benjamin.
Right, new medics in Benjamin. I don't remember what yeshuv. I don't know if I know any of these people. I know one person, the guy in the gray. He's our field operator. But you see women and men, married, not married. Married women cover their hair with a scarf, the religious ones. We have all kinds, though. We have non-religious people, too. But yeah, this is a team that they got their equipment bags. If you see these red bags in front of them, these are their emergency medical bags that they take with them everywhere. They get them after already passing the course, and I believe serving 3 months in training as in pairs. And that equipment is life-saving equipment, very expensive. I think $2,000 a piece. And they keep that with them. It's heavy. It's a big, heavy suitcase that's in their car, that's in their home, that's with them at all times. And look, it does happen when they'll get called an emergency and they're, in the store shopping, or they're, on vacation. It's happened. Drownings, it's happened. People are on vacation and they just happen to be on the beach and they are there.
And these vests are special as well, correct?
Yes. I'm glad you noticed that. The vests. Yeah, they're uniform vests, so people recognize us as being part of Rescuers Without Borders. They glow in the dark. There are pockets there, I'm pretty sure, in the front for ease, around their walkie-talkies, equipment, the lines, the needles, gauze.
Now, aren't they protective though as well? Oh, these aren't those?
Those aren't those. We don't have enough of those.
Oh, is that what
guy's
this
not
is?
wearing one either. No.
Oh, no?
No, we are constantly raising money for those. And we also are raising money for ambulances that are armored. Because what happens is there'll be like, a conflict, a shooting, and we get an ambulance in there, it has to be armored. You can't even get the poor people out. The medics have to be safe, the victims have to be safe, and it's like an uphill battle. We just need so much help. There's like it's very frustrating, but it's rewarding.
It's like a war zone, really.
Yeah, but we're doing the right thing, and we're the good guys.
And this is a rescuer who actually was under attack while he's trying to rescue someone?
Yeah, this is during the Gaza conflict. There's an alarm that goes off that gives you 15 seconds to run to a shelter because rockets are coming over, and you're instructed to lay on if you can't get to a shelter, you're supposed to lay next to something big and cover your head. What good is that going to do if a rocket falls on you? Tell me.
I hear you.
Get under the car,
Yeah, well,
it'll blow up, right?
Yeah.
Dangerous.
So this
is recent. This is recent. A few weeks ago, the driver lost control of the bus, brakes stopped working, and full bus of passengers, they crashed into an off-ramp next to a mall. We set up a triage tent, and treated people as fast as we can. You see rescue vehicles all over the place, fire trucks, big crowd, police. And all our guys are there. We have a big team in Jerusalem and around Jerusalem, Givat Zev in the west of Jerusalem. And we're sorting it out. We're sorting it. That's what we do. We get there as fast as we can and sort it out. And that's a big one. Yeah. And
a training session.
This was in Kiryat Arba. I was there. Right. I actually took this picture. Yes, they do these training sessions just like at the beginning. That was indoors. That was more classroom. This is something they set up a simulation so that people can experience what it's really like to be outside at night with the fire, with the smoke, with the noise. And this was a field trip. They had about 30 youth students, and you don't see them because we're off-road here, but on the road, across the road, everyone's gathered in a bus stop as if they were on a field trip and they had to stay together. And there were people, with injuries lying all around here. You see, the bus hit. I think the minibus hit, and one flipped over there. And this is a long time operation, and this was set up between the Army. They helped us also, and the youth medics and the regular medics. It takes a lot of coordination to do that. And the reason they do it is it's very good for them to know each other, because they do meet in the field, and it's good for them to know each other before they actually have to know each other. They know each other by name. They remember each other. They work. They have communicate. They learn how to communicate. What medics language might be a little different than Army language, or police language. It's good. It works. It makes all our work much more effective and successful.
Wow. That's it's really something and really necessary,
Yeah.
obviously.
Well, not every medic organization does stuff like that. I know medics, a lot of them train, do their course, get their certificate, and go. And they get their bags and they go, and that's it. And
Hmm.
that's, it's a little scary. What if you only serve, once a month? You're gonna remember these skills when you need them? I don't
Yeah,
want to be the patient with the medic who's out of practice, right?
yeah, yeah. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Why do you feel you need to be there in addition to people like fire department or other rescue workers?
We're first. There really aren't other rescue medical medics throughout this area. Um, they're not fast. The major national one called Magen David Adom, we work
Hmm.
and we coordinate with them. It's their ambulances. They work with us. We're more private, so we don't have to go through the government to get certain things. Our donations, for instance, if somebody wants to donate an ambulance, they can
Hmm.
tell us where they want it to go. We can find out where it's needed, and we do
Hmm.
it fast. We do it
Yeah.
fast. We don't have this big government arm. We don't have a lot of bureaucracy. We're small, we're private, and we get things done fast. Same with our medics. They're all living in these areas. There's no station. We don't have
Hmm.
people serving shifts. There's no shift work here. You're a volunteer, and that's 24/7, and you're always available. And when a call
Yeah.
goes out, whoever is closest runs. And it's something people have inside them. It's not something you would do actually for a career. You wouldn't do this for money. People do this because they something must have happened to them. Something has happened to them. Either a family member was saved by one of these rescuers, or they themselves have been saved by one of these rescuers, or they've witnessed an accident. These things are personal, and I think that's what
Yeah.
drives a lot of these people to help us, because we have over 1,500 volunteers, and what would
Right.
motivate them to do this for nothing? They're volunteers.
Right. I wanted to go over some pictures and discuss them. We kind of lightly touched on the vest. It said that you have 1,300, over 1,300 armored medic vests. Why are they so important for your operations?
When we do save people and there's a shooting going on,
Mhm. Mhm.
these are these protect against bullets. So our medics who are saving the people and resuscitating them and getting them into the ambulance, sometimes there's live gunfire going on, and that protects them. And this happens more often than you would think. So we need to keep those in the ambulances and in people's vehicles, and they need to be able to put them on quickly. Um, Also, when you're serving in, like you said, a war zone, like when Gaza is firing rockets, you have to have them on all the time. I mean, you just have to. It's the only thing you can do.
You train medical teams not only in Israel, but all around the world. More than 6,000 people have been trained by your organization. And today, Rescuers Without Borders has medical teams in 14 countries. You want to talk about that? Actually, first, let me show one of your teams in Ukraine.
Hi, my name is Ayala, and we are standing here on the border of Poland and Ukraine. We have been here for 15 days since the breakout of the war. We have three main missions in here. First of all, to immediate medical care to everyone who needs it. Second of all, to help Jewish get to Israel, where they are belonging to. And third is to deliver a medical aid to Jewish still in Ukraine.
שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום, שלום, שלום עליכם.
Anyway, can you please talk a little bit more about that operation?
Yeah, it was pretty intense. We got there very quickly after the war began, and we have a team there already. We have had a team in Uman for the last 4 or 5 years because a lot of Israelis go there during Rosh Hashanah because there's a famous rabbi who died there, Rabbi Nachman. Rav Nachman, and so many Israelis go. It's become like a pilgrimage type of thing. And we have an ambulance there, we have a clinic there, we have a team there of medics.
Wow.
And when the war broke out in the Ukraine, we sent like 2 or 3 from Israel there, and we already knew where to go. And our team in the Ukraine knew all the Jewish communities in the Ukraine and helped us a lot. So we were able to set up 3 tents on the border. We started with 1, it became 3. It was 1 major general medical tent. 1 then became for just women and children, and then another one was for, I think, like sleeping and food. One of them had heat, and we were able to actually like get an ambulance, another one there, and get medicines to the different communities in the Ukraine. People couldn't get out. We were able to, like you saw, take out some people and fly them to Israel because we knew drivers and our medics knew people. So we didn't even have to, people asked us, we were interviewed by the Federation and different organizations asked us, how are you able to do all this? What did you speak? How did you speak? And we're like, well, we have people who speak Russian. Like we have people who are Ukrainian. No, just amazing what we did. Just amazing what we did there. You should see the people who wanted to help us. We had volunteers from all over the world come to help us. I have a database now of doctors and nurses from all over the world, mostly American, non-Jewish, Jewish, all kinds of people who wanted to help. And it was just amazing. I didn't even know that our ambulance is the only one who could get Jews out. And I was talking to my director today, and he said, yeah, I said, are you sure? He said, yeah, we're the only ambulance there. There is another organization that comes over like once a year for Rosh Hashanah, but because of the war, they weren't even they couldn't even come this year. Ours is the only Jewish ambulance pulling out Jews and getting them to Israel.
So what do you mean? The Ukrainian system isn't go there in the Jewish area?
I don't think they are specifically helping the Jewish community. No.
Okay, and do you help others as well?
No, we help everybody. We do help everybody, but specifically getting Jews to Israel, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
As well. So how big is the community there?
That I don't even know, but I know it's like quite large. I know it's large, and I've read different things on how it's very affluent and how there's a large established community, but even so, not everybody is well off, and not everybody has connections.
Right.
In every wealthy community, there are people who are less wealthy. There are people who are poor.
Yeah. Your website says you have an interesting transportation fleet of 15 refurbished ambulances, 25 emergency scooters, 10 electronic mini ambulances, and 7 ATVs. Can you talk about them? Like, for instance, why you use refurbished ambulances and what an emergency scooter is?
All right. So a refurbished ambulance is an old ambulance that we have. It's cheaper to make it new, renew parts. It's cheaper to do that than to buy an entire new ambulance. And we need more ambulances. And I will tell you exactly what happens in Israel with the ambulances we get. The cities get the nice ambulances. And after 15 years, after 12 years, they're really no good anymore. They need to be fixed or taken off the road. They're run down, just like any vehicle. What happens to those? They're given to us. So we're getting these old vehicles. We rarely get a new vehicle. They're very expensive. It's $120,000 for a basic ambulance. A basic ambulance, just so you know, is a van with Band-Aids. That's a basic ambulance. If you have a heart attack or any heart situation where you need a monitor, a basic ambulance isn't going to help you. You need critical care. That's I think it's $150,000. So it's expensive. Magen David Adom is the major national medical, team, and they are authorized to furbish these ambulances, and they get first dibs, so they get them in the cities, and then we get them afterwards. So when we get a donation and somebody wants to do an ambulance, it's a big deal because we get it first. We're getting a new ambulance. We're not getting some 15-year-old ambulance. That has to be refurbished. You asked about emergency scooters, or did you ask about Bimbulance? Bimbulance is the electronic mini ambulance. I just want to talk about them because they're a very special vehicle. I also didn't know what they were. They are used.
And you have ATVs too. I was curious about those.
So ATVs are super important because we live in the mountains and we live in the hills, and a lot of things happen off-road, villages, fires. So you need to get off-road. That's what an ATV is. You can probably hear one outside. They're some because teenagers have them. The mini bimbulance, the I think it's electronic mini ambulance. It's very interesting. They are for places like the old city of Yerushalayim, Hebron, wherever it's very narrow. You get in there, and you can get in these small places with all the equipment, and you're protected. It's a little mini cool ambulance car that they're really effective. You see them at they really work, and I understand it because I've been in these places. The scooters are the same thing. Scooters are little motorcycles that you cannot take on the road. You can't take them between like Beit El, you don't even know what that is, but between like Beit El and someplace near Ramallah, you can't, because you'll get rocks thrown at you. Those are used in the Yishuvim, within the Yishuvim, in areas where they're safe, and they're faster, and you get around traffic, and that's the point, because there are some of these. Yeah, I'm telling you, we're all spread out, but some of these areas are heavily traveled because there's only one road, Road 60, and you see a map behind me. Road 60 is called I think it's called the Road of the Patriarchs. It's Avram's road, and it's the way that Avram Avinu traveled, and it goes all the way from the top, like near Afula, all the way south to Beersheba. Goes right in Yehud and Shomron, the West Bank, right in the middle, and that's the road we all take. Not just we, Jews and Arabs, we're all on the same road. Okay, so a lot of these Arabs, they all have cars, and there are a lot of them. There are maybe 2 million of them living here. We're 500,000. Okay, a lot more of them than us. And when there's an accident or a medical emergency, like an ambulance can't get through. These motorcycles can weave through.
Wow.
Yeah.
And even you're saying because of the conflict and throwing stones and all that, that's how you have to choose what type of vehicle you use to get there.
That's right.
Holy moly.
That's right. So if somebody, I just told you, like a motorcycle weaving in and out of traffic, I've never seen that. It won't happen, but it might happen in like right outside a neighborhood, a Jewish neighborhood, when there's a big traffic jam that way to weave. You can't travel a long distance or a dangerous distance because you'll get hit. That's why you need an armored vehicle.
I did want to ask you where else you have units in the world besides Ukraine.
Oh God, we have a long list. I thought I sent you the list. I can't even. Mali, Thailand, Zimbabwe, Philippines, Ethiopia, Saint Martin, Guadalupe, Jordan and Syria.
And why are you in these other areas? What are you doing there?
We only go when there's a disaster. So when we go there, we go to help,
Mhm.
and while we're there, we train a team and bring equipment. So it's great. We make a little investment there, and then we have a team. So if there's another disaster, earthquake, whatever, those people know what to do, and they can help. And even if they can actually get to another place faster than we would be able to fly over. So they're
Yeah,
even, in a better place in the world. They're an extension of us, like a little branch.
yeah. So how do you get these alerts that someone needs help?
There's an app. It's a phone app. All our medics have it. This is how things work today. It goes out, and it's great. It's fast. It's great.
And they're not arriving in ambulances. They're taking private cars, right?
Private cars. If they have a vehicle that that we got for them, that vehicle. Not so many ambulances. They're just. I mean, it's really funny. I live here in the Hebron Hills. There are about 20 Yeshuvim, settlements here.
Mhm.
Not all of them have an ambulance. They don't. So if I am going into labor, and I'm living down the road in here, I would have to wait for an ambulance to come from another yeshuv. And you also have to remember a lot of these yeshuvim, all Jewish yeshuvim have an entrance gate, and it's electronic. That thing has to open. It's slow. It opens, and then they have to go in. And a lot of us also, we don't have addresses. We're small villages. The driver, how are they going to find us? How are they going to find us? So we've instructed, and part of the training is you send a medic to the gate, and when the ambulance gets there, you jump in and you direct him to the person's house. That's what I mean when I say Wild West.
Yeah. Well, first of all, also, can you explain to our listeners what a yeshuva is, or
A yeshuv is a
yeshuvim?
settlement, a neighborhood, a
Right.
community.
Okay.
The Jewish one, yeah.
And yeshuvim is plural.
Mhm.
So now the whole helping Jewish Israelis and helping Palestinians is real sticky, and taking Palestinians to Israeli hospitals and all that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, our organization is not a political one. We are, funded by people who want to save lives. Some of them actually don't want to help us because we help Arabs. Some of us, some people are very specific with their donations, but our mission is to help lives and to save lives no matter what. So when there's an accident scene, we help everybody. Now, sometimes an Arab ambulance will come, and so they'll help them, but usually no. We're often first, and sometimes it's a dangerous situation where medics are stabilizing the injured, and one's Arab, one's Jewish, and the people start coming out of the houses of the Arab village, and they start coming out with rocks and knives, and the medics are trying to help this poor little kid. They don't like that. Sometimes they don't like that. We get them in the ambulance as fast as we can and try to help and save the poor kid's life. We've had an Arab
So
doctor.
can you slow down on that? Because can be confusing and disgusting, but can you put in, like, you're trying to help a Palestinian kid?
Yeah, anybody who's
or
injured, we help. We don't differentiate. We really don't differentiate.
And the neighbors, because it's a Palestinian village or area, because you're an obviously Jewish medic, ambulance, whatever, they actually cause problems, try to prevent you from helping. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Not only prevent us from helping, they would rather the poor kid lie there dead than us save his life. They don't value life the same way we do. Right. It's a tribal society. It's hard to understand, and it's not everybody. It's not everyone. We live together here. It's bizarre. It's really
Yes.
bizarre because we live together. We all love our children. Why would you, who cares who's saving his life, right?
Right.
It's we have a medical, we have medics where they have to hide their, they have to hide their who they work with. We have to train them privately, quietly. We have a doctor who saved Jewish lives and he had to go into
Right.
hiding. It's a very, it is not the West. It is not the society
Right.
I grew up with. It,
Right.
we have to, you just know that. You have to be aware of that and can't pretend it's otherwise. It isn't otherwise.
Right. Your ambulance drivers that you do have also have to be trained, correct?
Yeah, they have to be trained as medics to the full course. Yeah, it's not being a bus driver at all. It's being a full medic plus.
What type of training do the volunteers get?
I believe I have that written down, but it's a lot. It's
It's
100,
166 hours is what I
yeah,
have.
a lot of hours. It's a 6-month course. Paramedics is even harder. Paramedics, we really need more of those. They actually work in the hospital. They do shifts in the emergency room. It's intense, yeah. So the medics do the 6-month course plus retraining during the year. And before they even get equipment, they have to do volunteer work for 3 months, and that is shift work. The drivers have to do that, and they have to be a malave, what's it called, a malave? When you get a license for driving, you have to drive with somebody next to you for a certain period of time. It's that type of thing for being a driver. You really, it's very, there were a lot of training. So I think they also do 3 months of driving with an accompaniment, someone accompanying them, and being shadowed. It's being shadowed before they can actually take the ambulance on their own.
And most of the folks who get involved are men, but 20% are women, I understand.
A lot of women, yeah, a lot of women.
Yeah, and the preponderance of men, is that because it's a religious area or?
No, I think it's because men have more free time. Women have, households.
With the
There's
kids?
a lot of young marriages here, big families here. I have 5 children, but my family's like small.
With 5 kids?
People have big families here. Big
I mean,
families.
5. I mean, I happen to know you have 5 kids, and if you're calling that small, my goodness, what's a common size of a family there?
My age, my friends all have 7 kids.
Holy moly.
It is a beautiful life here, let me tell you. I recently did this course. I did this course about China, and you should see the graph of China, how they don't have the support in the future for their elder population. Our graph, Israel, you should see it's a perfect graph. The families are huge here, and we can support our growing population, the older population, because people have children, a lot of them. Especially out here, there's nothing else to do. There's no malls, no restaurants. So funny.
Oh yeah, but I know you absolutely love the life you have there, but for those of us not used to the violence, you everything there are juxtapositions. You have Jews and Arabs, you have safety and terrorism. It's like, it's hard for, I think, someone from the outside to understand when you say it's so safe there and so wonderful there, yet you're living with terrorism continuously.
You said it so well. There's no crime here. Okay, so there's danger, but there's no crime. You know where the danger is. You know the areas, and you know the situations that are dangerous. It's not like anybody can be a criminal here, not at all. You know who they are, you know what they look like, you know where they live. It's very black and white.
Who does the training?
Medics, senior medics, mostly, some paramedics, doctors.
And you're training Arabs as well, correct?
Yeah.
But they don't talk about it and you don't talk about it, but
They train separately. They do
Mm.
train separately in their own areas with Arab trainers in their villages, and we're not. It's not like mixed, okay? Life, and it's funny, that I didn't explain it. I never explain it because I just guess I don't think to
You
explain
live
but,
it and you don't think about it. But for
we
us,
don't live mixed. There's no
I
mixed
know,
life here.
I
You do
know,
know. Okay.
I know, but you should talk about it
So I'll talk about it, right?
because it's very strange. I mean, when
To an American,
everyone knows that Israelis and Palestinians are there, and you're living right next to each other, but you don't interact. You don't.
We do. We interact,
I
but we
mean,
don't live together.
but
We
you
don't live
don't
together.
socialize.
We do, but we don't live together. So, for
Yeah,
instance, a Jewish yishuv is a Jewish yishuv. There are no
yeah,
Arabs living here. They would not
right,
want to live here,
right,
and I wouldn't want to live in an Arab village. But
right.
you know, the grocery store, there are Arabs all over the place. The checkout
Mhm.
counter, the workers, the people just like me shopping with their kids, everywhere.
Yeah.
So we shop together. We're on the bus together. We're at the hospital together. We're in the market together,
Right.
but we just don't live together. Isn't that interesting?
But well, it's sad actually, but also you speak different languages.
They speak Hebrew.
Yes, but when they're with their own people, they speak Arabic.
Right.
And it gets very complicated. Now your schools are separate as well.
Right.
So
That's not complicated. I don't know why you're like saying it's sad. There's nothing sad here.
Well, okay,
It's
it's a matter of perception because you stay segregated um, intentionally and not want to just interact.
We do interact.
Well, you do, but
we do.
I understand. No, I hear you. I hear you. It's why some people call Israel apartheid.
That's so
And
funny.
it's not really funny. It's horrible.
Well, I mean,
I hate it when I hear it.
That's not what apartheid is. Apartheid is legally forbidding groups to be together. There's nothing legal here. These are choices. Arab villages have their villages. They don't want me there. I'm not allowed to go there. It's illegal. They will kill me. It says big red sign, no Jews allowed. Israelis allowed. You know,
and you don't find that sad?
No, I think it's scary, not sad. Scary.
Okay.
Scary. If I make a wrong turn, they will steal my car, beat me to death, and there's nothing anybody can do. I mean, the IDF will have to come save me. That's scary, not sad. Scary.
Yeah. So
why? Why can't I go in there? Why can't I go in there and get a cup of coffee or do a U-turn?
Right.
Why do I have to panic? Why do I have to carry a gun? Why? I don't want to carry a gun.
Right.
It's not sad. It's upsetting. It's upsetting. That it's a very violent society. They come in here, we're not going to kill them. They come into our store, we're not going to do anything. So, serve them, ring them up. Hello.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Not sad. It's maybe sad is the best word for it because it's their education. Okay, it's what they've learned and what they believe.
Oh, I know. I know they're taught that Jews aren't even human, and so often in the various peace organizations that I speak with, when they meet each other, which often is many times when they're adults, actually, not necessarily like living in an area where people interact, but other areas where there are more solely Jewish areas and not Arabs around, and vice versa. They are actually surprised that the other is human and has the same needs and desires and goals like they do.
Well,
It's
they live far apart. Yeah,
yeah,
those people are not seeing each other every day, right?
yeah, yeah.
Right.
But it's, from the outside looking in, it's really sad.
Yeah.
So you have various projects. One of them's the zoo therapy farm.
Right.
And let me show that. So can you explain that?
Yes, I love this project we have. It's a therapy farm with animals, mostly horses, that we have set up in kibbutz near the Gaza border for the children in that region who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, which was caused by all those German Gazan rockets that have been
Right.
going on for years. And these children, they close up, they start, regressing, they wet their bed, they stop talking, they're fearful all of a sudden. And it's just so, it's so sad. They don't have a normal childhood. They started sending over, the Gaza people started sending over balloons that had bombs attached to them.
Right.
And so children were like, what kid doesn't love a balloon, right?
Oy,
So,
oy,
so then
oy.
they start to fear balloons. I mean, it's like fearing a marshmallow. I mean, things that you should love, things that should make you happy. So the zoo therapy farm, we established that with a lot of support from our French donors, and it's been wonderful. It works, and it's a working farm. It's a project that's we are connected with a Ministry of Health, and we've had all the requisite approvals, and we get these kids signed up, and they have different sessions with a trainer, a lot of them private. There's even a closed corral. They didn't show that in the movie because some kids are just so scared,
Yeah.
but the animals help them, and it's been proven, animal therapy really does work. It really works. We're actually starting one now, a program for soldiers with post-traumatic stress disorder. It's something that's overlooked. I think in all facets of society, it's one of these kinds of illnesses that don't really get taken seriously.
Oh, I think both sides, all the whole nation, all has it. In fact, I'm not sure that I don't have it after our 2014 trip. I mean, it really gets your attention. It's horrific,
Yeah.
and we were only there for 2 weeks under those circumstances.
Yeah.
What is your Ethiopia rescue unit?
We have a unit just like we do in the other countries. We went over there though for a different reason. I don't think there was an actual humanitarian emergency. I believe there's so many Ethiopians who are trying to get out for so long, Jewish,
Mm,
actually, Jewish, And the government keeps like delaying and putting up barriers. We sent a team over, I think 3 years ago, and trained them and got them equipment and gave them a training session. We actually had a team stay there for quite a long time, and they are there now serving their own Jewish community. And you know, we have a strong connection with Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Jews are trying to emigrate all the time, coming to Israel.
Right.
And that is a strong team we have there. And that was more of a solidarity mission, if I'm not mistaken. But it is very, very poor there. They're very poor, and they're very far from anything close to a hospital. You have to go there by helicopter. So they didn't have anything, and they didn't have medicine. They didn't have dental work. A lot of kids needed glasses. They had never been able to see. They had never had an eye exam. Very, very basic things that we all really, I don't think we take it for granted, but this is part of our life, going to the dentist, going to the doctor, and they don't have that. They don't have that. It's like a field. It was like we set up a field hospital there. That's what we did.
Wow.
And tons of exams. I remember the number was like 400 exams a day. People who had never seen a doctor before.
Holy moly.
We helped them. We helped them and trained a team, and it makes them not only feel like useful, but instead of just feeling like, you know, please, poor, help us, they actually got trained to be medics too. We got them equipment, and they can now help their own community.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. In 2016, a rabbi, father of 10, was driving with his family on Route 60, and Palestinians shot at them as they were driving by. The rabbi was killed. His wife and 2 daughters were also struck by bullets. A Palestinian doctor who volunteers with Rescuers Without Borders was nearby and stopped to help.
Cette vague de terreur qui se poursuit en Israël.
Le 1er juillet 2016, sur la route 60 entre Jérusalem et Hébron, un terroriste palestinien ouvre le feu sur une voiture israélienne. À son bord, le rabbin Michael Mark d'Otniel, père de 10 enfants, est mortellement atteint. Sa femme Chava est grièvement blessée, ainsi que 2 de leurs enfants à l'arrière du véhicule. Quelques secondes plus tard, une voiture s'arrête. Un homme se précipite pour donner les premiers secours.
You know, it was the last Friday from the holy month Ramadan. I went with my brothers to Jerusalem to pray in Al-Aqsa. In the street 60 behind Al-Fawar, I saw a daughter of the man who was dead. She was in another car. I saw the man. I tested him. He was dead. I can't do anything for him. For the woman, she is alive, and they built hang her neck. You understand? She can't breathing. So with the help of my brother Mahmoud, we take it off from the car. Then after 5-6 minutes, Palestinian Red Cross arrived. Israeli ambulance. We turned her head bandage, just not for to bleed. After 5-6 minutes, arrived the Israeli ambulance. It was very difficult because the woman had been dead if I not be there in the moment. You understand? You know, it was a risk for me. It was a risk for me and for my brothers. You understand? No, my duty my duty, greater than it, better and greater for this risk. Then I stopped. I did what I have to do. I put the risk outside of my heart because the people need my help.
Et dans cette région où les symboles sont parfois plus forts que les faits, le docteur Ali Shrouk a prouvé au monde que lorsqu'une vie est en danger, il n'y a plus de conflit, il n'y a plus de différence. Seul sauver est important. Mais le docteur Ali Shrouk a aussi une autre particularité. Il est secouriste bénévole de Sauveteurs sans frontières.
What I had done, I think everyone in the SSF done this work. SSF helped people without talking. He is a Palestinian, he is a Jordanian, he is a Jewish. I want to help and I want to be member for this association because it is a association for all of the world, you understand? Not for Palestinian, not for Jewish, not for French, it is for everyone. And I like to help and I want to be member, you understand?
Au Proche-Orient, Sauveteurs sans frontières est la preuve évidente que juifs, arabes ou chrétiens, portés par les mêmes valeurs, peuvent vivre en paix. Partout dans le monde, Sauveteurs sans frontières réunit des femmes et des hommes qui, quelles que soient leurs origines ou leur religion, pensent que sauver une vie, c'est sauver l'humanité.
Can you tell us about that comment on
that? Was in July. Yeah, I remember that very well. I think it was 2017. Like it said, a road, shooting in a passing car. They live right over here. The father was the head of the yeshiva. Everybody knew him. I remember I got a phone call that day, and a friend of mine who's in security, who lives in the Shomron, said, "Natalie, you're home. Where's Jordan?" And I said, "He's out with the kids." "Why?" He goes, "Where? There's been an attack. Where are they?" Scared me to death. Right here. It's 12 minutes away where this happened. Oh, I remember it so well. Yeah, that we were that the wife was so lucky that medic, that Arab medic, made that decision to risk his life and help. You know, he could have just kept driving. Could have kept driving. Many of them do.
So he was in danger because he's, as an Arab, his people don't want him helping Jews, correct?
Right.
And do you know if he suffered any ramifications from doing so?
I believe he had to have protection and go into hiding. I don't know how long. Especially since we made the movie and he revealed his face. Yeah, this is dangerous. Or the enemy. It's a very different culture. You know, when there's a terror attack, and for instance, there are terrorists of all ages. You know, there's terrorists that are still in school. You know, no matter what happens to that guy, if he's alive or dead or in jail, they treat his desk in the classroom like a shrine. He's a hero.
Oh, I know the martyrs and their
his desk is not allowed to be touched. You know, covered with candles and flowers, and this is real. You know, we are the enemy, and they got a big honor when they hurt one of us. So can you imagine helping to save us is a shame. It's shameful to them.
I know when they kill themselves, their family gets salaries the rest of their lives, and the more Jews killed, the higher the salary. It's hard to comprehend when you live in a civilized society, I mean, it sounds like it's made up. It sounds like it's people trying to spread horrible rumors because they hate Arabs or something, but it's actually their culture. It's hard to comprehend. So, who's the leadership of Rescuers Without Borders?
There are some Israelis, quiet people, that are quiet. These are we do not have a huge leadership and not a very huge public one. It's not a political organization. There's no big fanfare here. The PR is terrible, because all our funding and all our donations go to equipment and training. So we don't have big dinners every year, and we don't have commercials, or raffles or any of that. We're like really very much small and mighty.
How many calls do you get a day?
I think 200 or something like that.
250 is what I had heard.
Okay.
Researched.
Yeah, a lot. We're tied into the security apparatus of Israel all along Route 60. So when somebody calls 1208, that's our number, an emergency number, we're alerted. So every rock throwing, every fire, plus regular medical things. Somebody breaks their leg, somebody has a heart attack, somebody's going to labor, all that.
And how many of your organization are actually doing the work versus training people? Do you know?
No. The trainers are also medics. They're not like yeah.
Okay,
They're
all right.
active. They're active. They're just more experienced.
And what would you consider your biggest obstacles for your program are?
Money, funding. But that's my answer.
Yeah.
I asked our director, our vice president, what our biggest challenges were, and he said, I think I even wrote to you. He said, we need more equipment. Renewing equipment. The renewing of equipment, because things expire. Oxygen expires, and medicine expires, and we have 1,500 medics to support, and we need to renew the medicine all the time. That's what he said the biggest challenge is.
What are the next steps for Rescuers Without Borders?
We are building a simulation center, brick and mortar. We have one already, but it's like a truck. It's a mobile unit, and we do the training sessions all over the country. But we are planning to build a building so we can do them inside and serve more people. The Army uses us, the medics in the Army use us, also, the police use us, and also visiting medical associations use us for because we're so active. Unfortunately, we have the practice, the field experience. We're good at it. So we train other groups, and there's a waiting list. There's a 6-month waiting list to use our one truck that has these robotic dolls and has all the blood and all the machines to measure if you're doing all the work right. We need more. So we're going to build a building.
Does the government help, or the IDF help fund you at all?
No. The government doesn't help us.
Why?
We get approvals because they're stretched. Honestly, they don't. I guess they're stretched. I mean, Magen David Adom is the governmental emergency, and they also fundraise. There's just not enough. The things wear out, and things are expensive. Medicine's expensive. Ambulances are expensive, and a new axle, a new wheel, and everything's expensive. And I wish we didn't have these, terror incidents, because that's why we have to have so many medics, and that's why we need all this stuff. If it was peaceful here, okay, 2 hospitals would be enough.
Right. Well, Thanks so much, Natalie, for the work you do and for this great explanation of what it's like living there and surrounded by Arabs who don't associate with, well, they associate, but it's complicated.
It is
And
funny when, yeah, it's funny to hear it from your mouth and see it from
yeah,
your eyes.
yeah,
I do understand when you ask these questions because it's so not scary here to me.
right,
But I've been here for 15 years and I'm
right.
used to it, just like you can get used to anything.
Yeah. Well, next week on November 15th, we'll be speaking with Yehuda Stolov of Interfaith Encounters. Interfaith Encounters' main effort is forming and maintaining ongoing interfaith groups. Each group offers an opportunity to meet the other and build lasting intercommunal relations of friendship coupled with respect for the unique identity of each. In this way, each group is a seed of the desired relations between the various communities. Their vision includes hundreds of groups, a wide variety of kinds, so that every person will have groups close to home and to heart. We hope you'll join us, and for now, we pray that everyone someday will live in peace, shalom, and salam.